You know what, Sam?
What?
There's a lot of games to talk about this time.
Yes, there is. All right. So, Sam, 3 games to talk. I think that it's been a while since we've covered probably 3 games on this episode before.
Yeah, we've had a lot of ones and twos, and some zeros, but not three.
Exactly. Um, so let's get on with it. We have a great sponsorship with who, Sam?
SeatGeek. So if you're wanting to go to an away game, a home game, a concert, or a comedy show, doesn't matter. SeatGeek offers tickets. You can get $20 off your first purchase. Use promo code Caniac Report. Again, first time purchase. So you know what? If you have more than one email, try it again. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. And it's a great deal. $20 off.
Yes,
It
perfect
really
deal.
is. Yep. And another thing too, remember, if you are watching us on YouTube, remember to hit that likes button, subscribe, leave a comment. And if you're listening to us on the traditional podcast side of things, be sure to please leave a rating and a review and subscribe so you never miss another episode. And Sam, I believe if you leave a rating, that counts as an additional entry, right? For our ticket giveaway we're going to be having.
Yes. If you want to enter into our giveaway, tell us your favorite game of the season. That gets you 1. Tell us why. That gets you 2. Show you've done a review. That gets you 3. That third one there, only people who haven't done it before could take advantage of that. But we'll add, that'll be a qualifier every time we do a giveaway because I think that's a cool one to do, and only so many people can do that. But yeah, give us a 4+ star review. If you give us a 3, maybe I'll think about it. If you have some fair criticism as to why you knocked off 2 stars, anything lower than a 3, though, no. We are not best friends for life, as Mike Maniscalco and Shane Willis like to talk about.
Yes, and no name calling. Like that is not constructive criticism.
No name calling at all. That's inappropriate. What happened on Adam Gold's show was inappropriate.
Yes, with that whole call-in that
Yes.
he had. But now we're gonna get to a few bit of news here. Now, since we're covering 3 games, the news thing might be light. But one thing, Sam, is probably kind of it for just league news is that apparently the Utah hockey team is having some trademark issues.
Poor Utah.
I know. The Yetis were refused because obviously with the Yeti brand, with the cups, Blizzards and Venom were refused. Same confusion as the Yetis, but there were a couple like the Mammoths and the Outlaws that that apparently they were fine with. So, I mean, I guess I'm kind of fine. I wouldn't mind the Utah team to be like the Outlaws, maybe. What do you think, Sam? The Utah Outlaws I like the Outlaws better than the Mammoths. I'm just not a huge fan of the Mammoths.
Yeah, I think I told you last night I like the Outlaws, and for those watching, sorry about that. I realized my phone was dying, and we have a game to go to, so I need it to charge a little bit before we actually go. So if you see me stand up again, it's because I'm moving my phone charger. But yeah, I want the Outlaws. I think that's a good name. Yeah, I mean, I think of the ones that we're looking at, that one makes the most sense. I think it works.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping for like the Blizzards, but
yeah, Blizzards. Dairy Queen probably wouldn't like that very much.
I was about to just say Dairy Queen. I wonder if that was why.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. We'll see what they do for a team. I'm sure they'll find something. Maybe the Utah Fighting Mormons. I don't know.
The Fighting Mormons?
Yeah.
That would get lots
no
of
offense to any of our Mormon. No offense to any of our Mormon listeners. It's just a fun joke because we all know what Utah is.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, the big thing is that would spark a reaction. We'll see how that goes. But Utah getting a new name, it's still in progress. But that's kind of it for just news around the league. Not much has happened. Because the thing is, we don't report on injuries. And another thing too, yes, we are about to go to the Columbus game. So most of this episode being um, of us recapping the games is before the Columbus game. Obviously, when we recap the Columbus game,
Yeah.
we would have seen it already. We're not going to recap something we haven't watched. So
Yeah.
that's the big thing. Sam, there are a couple of hurricane stuff here. One, apparently Riley Stillman was recalled, so that was interesting. I'm happy that Ty Smith probably wasn't called up, to be honest, because I didn't think he played that good for us. I wonder if he's going to start tonight against Columbus. I don't know if they
No,
lost anything.
everything I've seen, it sounds like Gostisbehere's playing tonight.
Okay, good. All right, so
They believe. I'll check real fast, but yeah, everything I've seen that is the case is that Gostisbehere will in fact be going tonight.
yeah, because he wasn't at practice. I know, but
He
if
wasn't at
Goss,
practice, but it sounded like he was going to play. It sounded more maintenance and just a hey, you know what? Go ahead and take the day, bud. You know you worked your butt off. It's okay.
yeah,
I'm checking.
definitely. But yeah, while Sam's checking on that,
Rod said he is expected to play tonight.
okay, good, good. So Stillman was probably if he's still there, just insurance policy for future games,
Yep,
or he probably already got sent down.
correct.
So another thing too, Sam, this is quite an accomplishment right here. This was during the game against Dallas, but Coach Rod Brindamore coached his 500th game.
Yep,
Congrats to him. As
500th
a
game
heck,
and fastest coach to 300 wins. I think was that right?
yes,
Yeah. So,
yep,
and to do it within 500 games, so good for the head coach. Well earned. Longest one of the longest tenured coaches in the league right now. I
yeah,
think he's
he
only
really is.
behind John Cooper and the head coach of Pittsburgh, whose name I'm blanking on right now,
Mike Sullivan.
Mike Sullivan. So I think the only
Yep,
two that are ahead of him are Sullivan and Cooper. I think then it's Rod.
yep. A little bit surprised just because of how Pittsburgh's playing. That there hasn't been a lot of rumors surrounding Mike Sullivan,
Oh, when
but
you've
he
won
might
a
not be
cup.
the problem.
No, when you've won a Stanley Cup, I think they know it's the roster.
Yeah, it could be.
It's not Sullivan, and I think he stayed for that reason. And isn't he like head coach of Team USA or something like that for the Four Nations?
That I do not know, but I mean,
I'll
I
have to
do
check later.
understand. I do understand that, and do agree in the fact that I think when it comes to Pittsburgh's problems, it's more on the roster side than on the coaching side. So, but congrats to Brendan Moore. And Sam, the last thing I want to talk about is that there's been a lot of rumors of Hurricanes being linked to JT Miller.
Yep.
Now, um, I am pretty cautious of who speaks this type of stuff, Sam. I usually like to see if that person's verified or if they work in the NHL,
Yep.
because I know there's a lot of fake accounts out
Yeah.
there. uh,
Yep.
so that's
Yep.
just kind of my PSA announcement.
Yeah. But we're getting a lot of people like Pierre LeBron, and Elliot Friedman and Frank Saravelli, people that are well known in the community, are the people that are making comments on this. So, do I think Carolina's in it? I really do.
I do
And
too.
it sounds like Carolina's in it because Vancouver's made a lot of mistakes in how they've handled this situation. And the contract isn't awesome, but the player is awesome. It's just a matter of taking on the contract. So, what happens here is Carolina's having conversations, and so are the New York Rangers. It sounds like the Rangers, unfortunately, are front runners because I can promise you right now, the preference is for him not to come to the Metropolitan Division unless he is a Carolina Hurricane. But I mean, you never know what can happen. Carolina was, a lot of people said we weren't going to get Jake Gensel, and look what happened. We got Jake Gensel. So, a couple things I want to say on JT Miller. I think he's a heck of a hockey player. There's something going on between him and Pedersen. I don't know whose fault that is. I don't believe Quinn Hughes is mad at Miller. I believe Quinn Hughes is mad at the situation. And I don't know what that situation is between those two players. JT Miller provides some grit, some toughness, some goal scoring. He's the kind of guy you want on your team. He fits the system quite well. Um, the questions really are the locker room things, and it sounds like
The
I've
cap.
seen this.
The
The
cap is
cap,
a big thing.
the cap. There are ways I think Carolina can find a way to make this work. Cap included. Carolina has some pieces that would make sense moving the other way. We have some prospects as well. Again, that's the way the roster is constructed. Some of those guys might never see the light of day in this organization. Ryan Suzuki is who I'm looking at as a possible player. He's really raised his trade capital. So if this team never intends to bring him up, that's a guy you move.
Jack Roslovic, I think, is a player that you probably consider trading too.
Yeah, Roslovic, because he's having a very good season, almost 20 goals already. I think if not already hit that. You've got Martin Hs. You have Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Those are all players you can utilize to bring in a player with term. Miller has term. That's why I like that player. Doesn't mean it has to be Miller, but if you're looking at a move Carolina is going to make this year, it's not a rental trade, which is why, again, they're in on it. I've seen a lot of people, even some of our friends, have said this isn't a deal Carolina makes. Well, I don't agree, because if you look at the trade that Carolina would be making, they'd be bringing a player on that has term. Carolina loves contracts with term. They don't like the age, probably, because he would be 37, I believe, at the conclusion of the contract. But Miller's playing very good hockey, and sometimes you have to take on a bad contract to get it done, but you don't have to sign him again, which is something Carolina does not want to have to do. They don't want to have to sign it. And then if you really want to complain about age, look at Jordan Staal. Dude's a workhorse and having a freakishly good season, and he's like 36, 37. So I think 36, 37. I could be wrong on his age, but I know he's an older player. The point I'm making is the kind of trade Carolina is going to make this trade deadline time period, which is like here between the deadline, is Carolina's going to look for a player with term. It's going to be a big move. They're not going to go get some, ninth defenseman. Maybe they'll get someone like that, but that's not going to be like, if we're looking at a deals to be made, Carolina's going to prefer to go get someone with term that can fit for this roster, not just this season, but next season, because they didn't do it last year. And I think they're going to want to do it this time.
So I agree mostly with what you said. And I would argue the reason the Canes are interested and reason I'd be interested in getting him is that if you look not only his term, but the money that he's getting paid is straight $8 million. And this is a guy he's produced probably around 90 to 100 something points. That's a bargain right there. And I would say if you look at that, that compares to me just a little bit of that of the Brent Burns trade. So I think Miller would be excellent. The cap is going to be hard, obviously, for the Hurricanes. It just is.
Yep.
So, I mean, while it seems like he's going to get traded sooner rather than later, I have heard reports from LeBron saying that this could spiral into the summer. And if it does, I think the Kings need to be more in on it because they'll have a lot more cap. So,
this trade with Miller, Vancouver might be like, yeah, we're still playing good. We know, and this is a year we might try and go for it at the Cup. They might be like, we're not moving JT Miller. Yes, I agree. If this spirals into the summer, then Carolina, this is like a match made in heaven for the Hurricanes. You need a guy who's tougher. Mm-hmm. He's a center, correct?
Right? Miller's a center. Yeah, he's a center. Yep, he is.
You need a second line center. There's your second line center. Dude's gonna be playing with the likes of like Svechnikov and other Natchez, because I'm assuming Natchez probably won't go the other way if this gets to the summer. Also, in my view, if this gets to the summer, I think it means Carolina is in a position to get it for even a better deal, because the longer on this goes, the less teams are in on it.
Yeah,
because it's not a bidding war at this point. It's we got to get rid of this player because it's just not working between these two guys. So, and again, I don't. Sometimes there's irreconcilable issues there, like Tony DeAngelo in New York. DeAngelo comes here, plays like crazy. He's awesome. And then he goes to Philly and it doesn't work. I mean, sometimes it is personalities and there's nothing there. So, and another thing I saw with Miller, and then I'll stop talking about this because we are on a time crunch. It sounds like Miller and the Carolina Hurricanes have been given permission to talk to each other. So there is conversations going. I've seen that somewhere. I don't remember where, but it sounds like there are conversations being had between the player and the organization, and Miller has been granted that permission with us and the Rangers. So I think, unfortunately for the Canucks, it's only between two teams, and
We're right in the thick of it. Kind of like the Gensel trade, man. It really is, except it's not a rental.
no, it's not a rental. And the thing is, in this situation too, what's really funny, is Vancouver's in a position where they're not able to dictate it as much as they probably would like, because everybody knows the situation and Vancouver needs to move on. So it's unfortunate for the Canucks, but we'll see what happens.
Yep, time will definitely tell. Well, Sam, let's get to reviewing these games here, these 3 games. But as usual, before we do, let's get to one of our sponsors. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Okay, I was getting concerned about your finger, Sam, there for a second. But we're good. Okay. The first game, Sam, is the Chicago game, and the person that was making that headline, Sam, for Chicago, is the first game of Frederik Andersen after that the injury he had this season. Sam, I thought he played very good.
He played very good and kept us in the game.
Yes, he did. Now, first period, honestly, I thought like probably the first 5 minutes were good for Carolina, and then it went over to Chicago's team. And Chicago, I would say a little bit like Anaheim, they're a fast team, and you can't just take advantage of that because in that game, Sam, Chicago had a lot of odd man rushes against us.
Yep.
And you had Kurashev scoring along with Bertuzzi. And both of those goals, I mean, do I blame those on Andersen? No. And I like what you said, Sam. The thing with Andersen coming back, you can't really put a lot of pressure on a goalie who's coming back from recovering from an injury after like what 3 months.
Yep. Yeah, and I wasn't going to put pressure. It was a perfect game to throw him out. And what's awesome is we get to see Freddie again in about 2 hours. So love the decision to play Freddie against a team that's not very good. Unfortunately for him, the team in front of him didn't show up until much later in that game.
Yes. So it was 2-0. Chicago winning, and then Sam in the second period, you have Jarvis scoring from Aho and Slavin, and this was on. I believe, this was on 4-on-4, I believe. It wasn't on the penalty kill. It was 4-on-4 hockey, and Jarvis, man, he does so good against Chicago because I believe his first goal was at Chicago, and it was a breakaway goal too. So pretty good. It was a filthy breakaway. Oh my gosh, Sam. I mean, I think he's the purest goal scorer we have. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so. I think The person, I think Jarvis has the best goal scoring touch, and I'm not so sure if Jackson Blake doesn't have the best hands on the team. Like
Oh
I used to
yes.
think it was Natchez, but I don't know. Jackson Blake has some pretty nifty hands. Once he gets stronger, I think that dude's going to be a sniper.
Yes, I do too. Jackson Play to me has top. He really does. And then um, you also have KK scoring, Sam, and KK he's done pretty good in the goals. He's
Yeah,
proven me wrong so far, but again, he has to prove me a lot more in order to be a second line center.
hey,
But
he's having a solid season. He's had a solid couple of games, and I look forward to him playing tonight. And I hope he has another good game. I'd love to see a KK like just continue to take games over because that's what we're seeing. Honestly, dude's got a shot and he's using it.
yes, he does. So he ties the game. And then in the third period, Sam, you have Jordan Stahl scoring from Martinuk and Orlov. So Canes are up. Wait a second. Or no, Canes tied it, if you remember. And you know what? I actually praised the refs on that goal because if you remember, Sam, Chicago players, they're in front of Mrazek. We also
Yep,
got to see Taravina, I believe, for the first time, too,
correct.
that game. But how that goal went in was that all the players thought Mrazek had it, but the ref comes up behind Mrazek, sees the puck is still wide open,
Yep.
and he does not blow the play dead. Jordan Stahl sees the puck and he just dumps it into pretty much the open nets. And good, I'm telling you, good on the refs for that.
Yeah, in
Really.
fact, the ref I saw was yelling. He was yelling loose, loose, loose because he saw the puck and he's like, "Hey, it's loose. Let's keep playing." And Jordan Stahl noticed it first, shoveled it in, and that was a good goal. Mrazek never had it covered. If you look at it from that angle, you can see that it was never covered. So that was the right call. I'm sure and I would say that if it was a hurricane situation, the puck just wasn't covered, and the ref had eyes on it, so you have to let it go.
Yes, you really do. Um, Now, one goal I probably did forget. Chicago did go up ahead very late in the second period. I believe the last minute of the second period with Donato scoring. And I thought Donato had a good game against us. He's a fast player, and we were able to tie it, Sam, 3-3. Again, this is a game where Chicago's not good. They're the worst team in the NHL by the time we play them, Sam.
Not only the worst team, they're the number one team in the NHL on losing games after having a lead.
Yeah,
They
so
have lost the most games giving up a lead.
yeah. Yep. And I can see why, because as this goes into overtime, Sam, Chicago, that game, yeah, we won, but I wasn't the biggest fan of how we won, you know?
I
Like
I
you
agree.
couldn't win this in overtime, you know?
I
You
completely agree.
win it in regulation.
I agree. We should have won in regulation. That's the game you want to win. We did not win it in regulation. But again, if you give up a point, better to give up a point on the road. You're going to stink on the road. So Carolina was able to get a point against a bad team. They got the second point against a bad team. So that's what you want to do, and that just shows the roster difference. There is Carolina is just the better roster, and at the end of the day, the better roster won this game.
Yes, they did. And Sam, in overtime, you have Natchez passing the puck to Aho for a blazing one timer on
Mhm.
Mrazek, and he's able to win it. I was like, thank goodness we won that game. Because the reason why we won that game, I thought we needed to win, was because the next opponent was against a very, very tough team, and that was Dallas on the
Yep.
road.
Yep. Yep. Dallas is a tough team, but that game was the game against Dallas, in my mind, if I'm just describing it to someone, it was a very boring hockey game.
Yeah, it really was. And to be honest, Sam, this was the same night where it started to snow in
Yeah.
North Carolina. At points, I was more looking at my attention was more on the snow than it was at the game, just
Yeah.
because I would say the first 2 periods it was boring.
Yep. Yeah. It's true. It was. It wasn't all that exciting. It was not an exciting game. It was a very low event game. Kochetkov was excellent, but even then, the goalies weren't tested a lot. But when they were tested, they were both Ottinger and Kochetkov were good.
Yeah, they were. Now I do think that Dallas had better opportunities against Carolina. Now I thought Carolina had some opportunities, but I mean there were times where Dallas was kind of all alone with Kochetkov, but Kochetkov, I mean, he did great. And
Yeah.
Sam, you have KK scoring again in that second period
Yep.
from Netchus, and I mean, wow, what a shot that was. Because that was right above Ottinger's, I believe, shoulder. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
But good
KK's
because
got a
he
shot.
has a good shot. He
He's
really
got a good
does.
shot. He needs to use it a lot more.
Yes, so good for KK for making it 1-0. And Sam, at that point, I was like, oh my gosh, we're leading against Dallas, because since we won against Chicago, I was like, even though I want us to have a winning streak, I knew this. Well, it's not like I knew, but it's like, I mean, I'm not expecting a win against Dallas, especially
Yeah.
with the way we've been playing. So, but you're up 1-0. Great pass to KK, and KK was able to fire more of a risk shot on Ottinger. Makes it 1-0. And in the third period, this was just a shift where Sam Dallas they were really, as Trip would say, cooking with oil, gas, and gravy. Like they were really, really turning on to us. And eventually you have Thomas Harley scoring because um in that game, I mean, Kochetkov kind of I would say sort of took the bait, because it was Wyatt Johnson, who I love Wyatt Johnson. Dallas has so many great players, but he was able to take a check off out of his position and able to give Thomas Harley the puck to score, make it 1-1. And at that point, I was like, yeah, this is going to be a tough game. Might go into overtime. But Sam, it didn't.
No, it did not.
And another player that I thought Kochetkov was the best player in that game, because he was
I agree.
making such great saves.
I
And I
agree.
thought KK was really good too, but another player, and I pointed this out during while we're watching the game, was Sean Walker. Excellent.
Yeah. Walker was elite this game. I loved him. I really, really love Sean Walker. And that just proves that that's going to be a really good signing for us.
Yes, it is, because he's the one that kind of comes in on the right hand side of the rink, and he is able to kind of shoot it at Ottinger, the puck, and it kind of comes out as KK's driving to the net. It hits his skates, but it goes in, and it's 2-1 Carolina, Sam. And I was getting really nervous toward the end of that game, Sam. I thought, like, oh no, Dallas is going to score a tying goal. But man, Kochetkov stood on his head, and he was great. The one thing I didn't like in that game, and even though I thought the Aho line actually played a decent game, Svetch, there was one shift where he both turned the puck over very badly and took an icing, if you remember that shift.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, yikes.
And he took 2 penalties that game. So yeah, Svetch wasn't exactly a top-notch player against Dallas.
No, he was
But
not.
But I give him a pass because I thought he's played really well of late. As
He
well as he
has.
stayed out of the box pretty recently as well. So you know what? If he had one game where he was in the box and made some bad plays, I'm willing to overlook one bad game on a like 5, 6, 7 game series where he was excellent. So
Yeah, and now we're going to be playing against a team in Columbus, Sam. So
you ready for Star Wars night, Sam?
that's right. It is Star Wars night. I am very excited to see all those Mandalorian helmets, Stormtrooper
Yes.
helmets. Maybe we'll see Chewbacca there too.
Yes. Yes.
It's going to be fun. We're going to be
You ready?
geeking out.
You ready,
Oh,
Sam?
I am
All right.
so ready. So we're going to recap Columbus now.
You know what, Sam?
What?
Just like Steve Dangle, we have victory puppies.
For those of you who are just listening, Sam showed his dog Penny on camera. So that's why he said victory puppies.
Yes, victory
But
puppies.
Sam, the win streak extends from 3 games to 4 games because this was a game where it was a something game. Let's just say that.
Like Adam Gold was calling it on the radio. This game you could not drive home. This game could not drive home. A drunk game. Carolina was just a little bit more sober than the Blue Jackets.
Well, I mean, here's the thing: it's an 82 game season. You're going to have games probably like that every now and then, and that
Yep.
they definitely did.
Yep.
Lots of goals happen, but I mean, wow! It there was a combined 11 goals? Yeah, 11 goals. Sam, wow! So Anderson gets the start tonight.
Yep.
I actually thought he played pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, he was on the cusp of number 300 for wins, which he got.
Yes, he definitely did. And now the first goal was scored by Kent Johnson. That was a 5-hole goal. To me, that's the goal out of all 4 goals he probably needs to have back. You just can't allow that to go.
Oh.
And I mean,
it was a goal that we've seen Kochetkov allow. You just if your stick's on the ice, that's not going in.
Exactly. But Carolina had a few good chances. I think on the power play, Netches was able to wire one off the post, so there was a chance there. I thought Jarvis had a chance.
Yep, he had a lot of chances. Dude could have had 10 points tonight if he. That's the kind of game it was.
Yes, it was. Stahl had a chance in the first period, so there were a few chances, but it was the mistakes that kind of costed the Canes there in the first period. You have Marchenko scoring. He's been a hurricane killer, man. Marchenko's always scored against us for some reason. He's a good player, though.
Yeah, no, he's a good player, and Columbus has a solid team, so give them opportunities, they're going to score.
Yep, exactly. And it was one of those things where Sam, the Slavin Burns pair, honestly, like, I mean, this is a game where I'm like, they could have done a little bit better, especially on that second goal there. Like, Slavin was obviously covering the puck carrier and Fantelli, and then you have Burns was trying to help Slavin there. I don't know what he was doing, Sam.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, but again, it's just one of those things that makes me really frustrated about Burns. And I'll get on to Slavin later, Sam. As much as I love the dude, I will get on to him later. But then, Sam, second period comes. Canes, boy, it was a night and day difference from the first period to the second period. You have Jarvis scoring on the power play. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it was a power play goal, Sam.
I know.
Like, wow.
And plus, Jarvis had been all over the game before that, so for him to finally get one, good, because he's been working his butt off. Like I said, the dude could have had a hat trick of goals, assists, whatever. He was just that good. He was all over it.
Yeah, he really was. So great to score on the power play. You definitely needed it because the power play has just been dead play instead of power play because there has been no power at all lately. But good they got the goal there. And then you have Eric Robinson scoring from Jarvis and Frederick Anderson getting an assist. Wow.
Yep. Freddie got a point. And his 300th win, he gets a point. Good for him.
Yep. Must be an iconic game for him.
Yes. Too bad he didn't get a goal.
Yeah, too bad. But Robinson, I'm telling you, Sam, he continues to impress me. He's done really good, and that ties the game. And then you have Jackson Blake scoring, Sam, and this was a goal where, I mean, the players thought they scored, but the refs didn't. So they had to look at the goal to be sure that it did cross the line. And Sam, when we saw the replay, it was obvious it did.
Yep.
That's a goal, I think, because the goalie for Columbus was Tarasov, and I agree with you. It was the backbreaker. I thought that's what shifted the game.
Yeah, that was pretty much it for Columbus. After that, it was still a game, obviously, but that was kind of what really just threw Columbus reeling in the other direction.
Yeah, it did. So Jackson Blake getting a goal. I thought that Aho Blake Svetch line was really just excellent.
Yep.
Svetch, what's funny, Svetch and Van Riemsdyk, man, were going at it with each
Hmm.
other.
Yeah, they
I
did not
love it
like each
though.
other.
I love it though. I love the chaos. So, and then you have Aho scoring from an assist from Jackson Blake because Blake was able to create a turnover. Top shelf is the type of shot that Aho makes on Tarasov. And then you have probably my favorite goal of the game is the Martinet goal, Sam, because we were coming off of the PK and Stahl just muscled number 9 for Columbus. I think that might have been Cole Sillinger. Could be wrong. Or maybe no, it was Provorov. My bad.
Yep,
But
that sounds right.
yeah, he muscled Provorov off the puck, and love seeing that. To me, that's that's what created the 2-on-1 chance.
Yep.
Jarvis gives it to Martinook on the 2-on-1. He scores, and then came some doubts to him. Some because he had 2 tips from Van Riemsdyk and Voronkov.
Yep.
I mean, the first, again, I don't blame those goals on Anderson. The first goal, tough to allow. But the second goal, I would say I have a little bit of an issue with, considering it was the exact same play as the first goal. So I put more blame on the defense there. And that's where I am criticizing Slavin, because Slavin was battling Voronkov there.
Yep.
And he didn't push him in out of Anderson's way. So I'm like, Slavin, come on, dude. Wasn't the best game for that pair. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the best pair, I think, for team defense in general on both sides.
Yeah, it just yikes. But regardless, Hurricanes win. You have Netchus scoring, Sam. That's 4 goals in 3 games for the guy. Wow.
Yep. Good. He needs to be scoring. That's what we have him here. Get points.
Yes. Yes. Now, I would say that ups his trade value.
For KK?
For KK, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we'll see what happens.
I know there are people that love KK, and
Look, if you're moving KK, you're moving him for a top 6 center, so you just make sure whatever you get back is more valuable. But it's just a matter of we'll have to wait and see kind of the direction this goes, because we're in on Miller. It was coming out where Miller's number 1 choice, it sounds like. So it's just a matter of Carolina wants to make it happen. And if Vancouver wants to make the deal, because Carolina's basically said, do it or not, we have other options. So make your mind up.
yes, completely. So,
I cannot for the life of me think of what those other options are that would be in the same category as Miller, because right now I think that's probably the best free agent available, or best deadline target available. So it's just a matter of, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
yeah, we will wait and see on the whole Miller thing. But I mean, when it comes to KK, I will admit he has been playing, I would say, a lot better than most of the games he's played this season, even though he's been playing good. So I will admit to that, but at the same time, to me, that doesn't just those 3 games, 4 goals in 3 games, to me just doesn't amount to the amount of lack of productions he's had throughout his career here at Carolina. That's my big thing.
We'll have to wait and see what happens.
I know, but it's just I am a little bit passionate about KK, but
hey,
I guess that's just me.
Gotta wait and see what happens.
I know. But I mean, the player that really made that play was Netchus. Like that was just a great hustle of Netchus trying to get the puck, and he is able to give it to KK. He shoots it, and to me, I thought in the third period, Carolina, especially with that goal, I was like, okay, I can't see Carolina losing this lead. It should be able to win it. And eventually you have Jarvis scoring on the empty net goal with an assist from Fetch and Stall. Sam, wow, what a game. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you were to have your first star, we might agree on this, might not, but if your first star of this game, who would it be?
Probably Jarvis.
Same here. Yeah, I had a feeling that might be Jarvis
Jarvis,
for both of us.
Aho, and Stall. I just
Yes,
thought
and
Stall played a good game.
yeah. Oh, Stahl, I think, has been the most consistent forward this season.
Yeah, he's been very good. He's been playing well for us.
Yes, just amazing. Hit both him and Martinook. Whichever players on that line, they benefit from that line because Stahl and Martinook really just play so well. And another thing too, Sam, this is the last thing I want to say, and it's about Jackson Blake. But we talk about like how next season it's going to be a big year for us because of the cap space. The players will be bringing in with like Nikishkin and maybe other prospects and possible free agents we might sign or trades. I mean, there are some times, and I mean, I would say I get this way sometimes. You're also going to have probably a huge improvement of Blake's
Yeah,
progress
yeah,
too.
yeah. Blake's can just keep getting better.
Like we could see a 50, 60 point season with Blake.
Easily.
So I am excited to see his potential with this team. I mean, I hope he stays with this team long term, Sam. I don't know what the Hurricanes' plans are long term
Yep.
with Blake, but I hope he stays there and here for a very long time. And do you have anything else to say, Sam?
Great win. Glad we got it done. The force was with this team tonight.
Yes, because it was Star Wars night.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you had me remember that one clip they showed of the players looking at the Star Wars
Yeah.
scenes. That was so funny of KK looking at that scene of Yoda saying do or do not. There's no try. And he says,
Yeah.
that sounds like Jarvis on a Monday.
Yeah, that looks like Jarvis on a Monday. Yeah, that was funny.
Oh, I love that. But great win on Star Wars night. Both Sam and I, we are pretty big Star Wars fans, so we enjoyed the game. And well, we will see you guys Monday.